Yo, what's up? My name is Patrouski, and with Zapdos confirmed to be added to PokeMMO, it's confirmed that all of legendary trio birds are probably coming to PokeMMO. So we have currently Articuno was December, Zapdos is going to be January, if you don't know, and then Moltres is going to be February, most likely. If you don't know, they're very similar to the legendary beasts in Johto. If you don't understand how they work, I recommend check out my legendary beast Johto guide or my how to catch Articuno guide within PokeMMO. But a quick TLDR, to hunt the legendary birds, you need to be outside. You cannot be within a cave, and you cannot find them while hoarding. You have to be single encountering. And today I'm going to be showing you guys 5 spots, well actually 6 spots, but don't tell the title, 5 spots that you can go hunt these guys at. You can really hunt them anywhere, but these spots are used by a lot of players to accidentally get shinies along your hunt, or maybe even make some Pokeyen along your hunt. The rate for the legendary birds is not known, but we know it's somewhere between 1001 and 7999. So the rate is somewhere in between there. Now this is spot number 1. Spot number 1 is a super simple one. There's really only reason to come here, in my opinion. A lot of the other Pokemon you'll be seeing, aside from Charmander, aren't even really worth it, but so many people just love shiny Charizard so dang much that I think it is worth mentioning this spot. This is the only spot in the game you can come and have a 5% chance of encountering Charmander. You do have to be popping lures, and I always recommend for hunts like this, always be popping expert lures, in my opinion. You'll get better encounters, more encounters, etc, etc. And then you should also be abusing some sort of 10% wild Pokemon encounter rate Pokemon. Now that could be a swarm Pokemon that gives you that effect. Arena Trap hilariously gives you that effect. I'll be using Arena Trap today because there's another spot where you also need Arena Trap for a different type of utility. So Arena Trap's a really versatile one. But Route 3 in Kanto, you basically just fly over to Mount Moon and then head south. You can go left and right in that location there, or up and down in this location, however you prefer to hunt. Really simple location. Literally the only thing you're looking for here, aside from Articunos, is Charmanders. Whether you want to catch them for profit or just slowly try to hope for the rare odds of a shiny Charmander, more power to you and good luck to you. Let's jump into spot number 2. Now, spot number 2 is a spot where I've spent a lot of time on multiple accounts. You want to fly over to Cerulean City and then head north over Nugget Bridge. And then over here in this left little patch will be Route 24. Route 24 is really cool because you're able to lure here and find Squirtle, another one of those, shiny starter, possible fairy tale dream shinies. But you're also able to get a lot of Abras and Meowths here. These are good for a couple reasons. I mean, Abra and Meowth are pretty solid shinies, but another big one is that catching Abras and catching Meowths for profit can be really good. This is probably the best spot on this list for actually making Pokeyen along the grind. But be very careful here. If you want to come shiny on here, I recommend you have to bring an Arena Trap Pokemon, because if you don't, the Abras will try to teleport turn 1. If you run into a shiny Abra, if you don't have that Arena Trap Mon, it could get away, and you don't want to risk that. Worst case scenario, if you happen to forget your Arena Trap Pokemon, it probably is worth to go ahead and Master Ball that Abra. Now, when price checking your Abras and Meowth, it's a little difficult. Things like Meowth, you actually want to price check as the species. So price check over Meowth, 31 attack. Let's go for, let's type it in fully. 18k just for a 31 attack Meowth, 1 times 31. These Pokemon have really high demand because people need payday pickup Pokemon. So find those 31 attack IV Meowths and you'll get some really solid money. Let's check things like Adamant as well. Just Adamant Nature, you're looking at 2k, 7k. Like, you get pretty solid Pokeyen just for having correct nature on a Meowth. What about Adamant Nature plus 20 plus attack? 8k, 10k, solid amounts of Pokeyen per Meowth. Now with Abra, you're usually looking for like synchronized targets. A lot of people buy Abra as a synchronized Pokemon to help with catch events and stuff like that. So let's say, for example, there was a catch event coming up where Timid was a boosted nature. How much would a Timid Abra cost me? This one's 2k, nothing super expensive. So that's a pretty good deal. You can find stuff like this. What about like a 31 speed Timid Abra, 50k? What about like a 31 speed nature, 9k? Abra is a really solid, decently desired Pokemon for many reasons. But that's enough about Abras and such. Let's ditch spot number 2 and head over to spot number 3, which is going to be Berry Forest on Island 3 in Kanto. So you want to fly over to Island 3, you do have to kind of head north and then head west from here. There's going to be some patches of grass to get through. But just keep heading west. It's pretty hard to miss. It's only one really path you can go. Don't jump over this by accident. I do it all the time. Head west over the bridge and you'll find your way over in Berry Forest. Berry Forest is really cool because it has two really good single encounter Pokemon for shiny options. You can see a lot of people farming here. I recommend luring here for sure. You absolutely want to lure here because it's going to give you access to Munchlax wild encounters. The two big Pokemon here are Munchlax, and Execute, funnily enough, is actually a single encounter uncommon shiny hunt in this location. So getting a shiny Execute would be a really cool one to get here. Now, the other really important thing about this location is that you might want to consider either payday pickupping or thiefing the Munchlaxes because they can hold leftovers, which is around like usually a 30 to 50k item. It depends on the time of the market, but yeah, 30k at the moment. This is one of the better profits per hours or profits you'll see per item, but the profit per hour is probably not great since you don't see many Munchlaxes, and the odds of them holding a leftovers is really rare. You may see like one leftovers an hour. It's not going to be crazy profit per hour, but if you're here, you know, with like a swarm Pokemon in the lead with my Spoder, you might as well just thief it, right? You might as well thief and sort of get those extra leftovers along the way. No harm in it. Other than Munchlax and Execute, you really do see a bunch of duds here, though. Things like Gloom, and you'll see Hypno, which is kind of cool, though. Most of these spots in Kanto, just aside from the main targets, a lot of the other encounters are pretty duds. All right, next up, let's head over to 7 Island for spot number 4. If you fly to 7 Island and then head all the way south, I'm going to go ahead and pop a rappel to get there to show you guys. Once it says in the top left-hand corner, currently we're at Canyon Entrance. Once we reach over here, it'll start to say Savault Canyon. And that's, so you can hunt right here if you want to, but I usually like going down here, down to this location so I can run back and forth and bonk into the walls. Now, Savault Canyon, this used to be the best shiny hunting location for Larvitar in the entire game. Post lures, this spot was really good. The reason why is that this spot has a 5% chance for shiny Larvitar, or 5% chance for Larvitar, a 5% chance for Tyranitar when you're popping lures, which is a big boost. So a 10% chance of seeing a shiny Larvitar of the species line, and you also have a 5% chance at Skarmory. So you've got a 15% chance in this location for a rare shiny. That is very good. The issue is all the other encounters here are pretty big duds. You have things like Geodude, you have things like Phanpy's a decently cool one, but there's Donphan times 5 hordes now. A lot of the other Pokemon here are just not great. So if you miss out on those rares, you're not really bagging home any sort of cool shiny. Marowak as well, another common times 5, you know, horde shiny that you just get here via single encounters. If you miss out on the rares, you're missing out on a lot here, but that's just the case with a lot of these spots. Next up is an under talked about spot, but one that's a personal favorite to me. It's not the best spot on this list, but it's a fun one. It's got a really cool shiny. Over to 6 Island, you want to head south down over to Ruin Valley. Head south and then just loop around this little path. There's really only one way you can go, and once you're down here, you reach Ruin Valley, and once again, you're going to want to pop lures. And the really cool Pokemon you can encounter here when using lures, you can encounter shiny Yanma, which is a really underrated, very cool, very difficult to get shiny. The best way to hunt it is actually single encountering here in Ruin Valley at the uncommon rate. But not only do you get Yanma, you also get a lure encounter of Jolteon. Any of those Eevee shunters, if you're an Eevee fan, you probably should come to this location while going for your legendary beast. Other than that, I've said it 1,000 times, it's not like a broken record. A lot of the other Pokemon you get here are duds. Things like Marill, they're not bad shinies, but they just have times 5 hordes, so you really want to avoid getting it as a single encounter shiny here. Meowth, Marill, Fearow, Wooper, just not Pokemon you want to see in a single encounter shiny. But if you happen to get that 5% Yanma or 5% Jolteon, it's a big deal. The only other issue here, I kind of said 5% Yanma. We don't know the exact percentage on Yanma. What I will say is that it says uncommon, but it doesn't end up actually feeling like an uncommon. I don't know the exact percentages. I'd love to test this spot in more detail in the future, but you don't see that many Yanmas because there's so many Pokemon spawns here that that uncommon, quote unquote, ends up being a bit rarer. I would definitely say you see Yanmas way less than 20% of the time, maybe like 10% of the time, whereas you'll see things like Bagon, which will be considered a rare spawn over in Meteor Falls. But you'll see that Pokemon 20% of the time while there, so you can't always trust the Pokemon wild location rarity. It's a little wonky. And then the final spot for this video is also going to be from 6 Island. You want to fly over to 6 Island, head over to the water, and actually surf north. We're going to be heading over to Pattern Bush, which has some really consistently good shinies. If you like grass types and bug type Pokemon especially, you're going to be coming here for those very pretty, beautiful shiny Pinsir and shiny Heracross. Both of those Pokemon can be found in this location, as well as the whole species line for things like Weedle, Kakuna, Beedrill, Metapod, Caterpie, Butterfree. If you like those shinies, they're all over the place here. But the big hitters are that Heracross, are that Pinsir, which come in at decent rates here, if I'm not mistaken. I think Heracross ends up being an uncommon encounter in Pattern which is pretty solid. And then I think Pinsir ends up being a 5% chance with lures. So not a bad spot, pretty solid. Some people will come here to payday pickup as well, since the Pokemon are so high level and pretty weak to kill, around level 52 or so. So if you want to do that, you could definitely test that out for sure. But there's tons of spots you could go hunting in PokeMMO if you choose so. If you have any spots you think I missed that are worth mentioning, let me know in the comments down below. I really appreciate it. Like this video if it was helpful to you. That helps me out tremendously. Subscribe to the channel for daily videos like this one. You can follow my Twitch for streams Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET. Discord's links down below if you're interested in that. And if you want to go above and beyond and support my channel, if my content has been helpful or entertaining enough to warrant it, and you can afford it, YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, and PayPal/Venmo is super appreciated. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Peace, Reno.